coming to you live from the San Francisco Bay Area. It's time for Zig In The Zone with Ralph, Zig, Tyko.
That's right, coming to you from the frozen tundra that is my office and studio. Give it up for Ralph, Zig, Tyko, everybody.
Hey, how you doing, Pauly?
I'm fine.
Turn on the heater.
Well, that's what my computer's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a little space heater the way this sucker lights up. But yeah, I know.
Okay.
But no, I've got it going. It's just I think you said it best. I'm just a puss.
No, I said that about myself.
About yourself, but I'm saying I'm gonna take that from you because literally I am a puss. I am a Californian and proud of it, I guess, because holy shit, I'm in the Central Valley and it hasn't even got out of the 40s yet, but that's okay. I'm here with you.
Well,
You warmed the cockles of the podcasting community. So
uh,
thanks to you, Ziggy.
nice to be seen in my 80th year on Earth. Unbelievable. What a mindfuck. Speaking of mindfucks, we're lucky enough to have George Grimm with us, who, like yourself, has been very instrumental in my life. George and I wrote a book together. George and I have been fast friends since. Um, Good to have you, George.
Good to be here, Ray.
Podcaster, author.
Here is the book.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of fun writing that book together.
Oh, we did. Here's the glove that's on that book cover.
Mm-hmm.
I carry it with me. It's a
Yeah, we had a good
Billy
time.
Martin edition, a left-hander. I'll tell that story another time. But George, you have gone through so much success in the last year. Give us a rundown what's going on in your life.
Yeah, well, the last year, the last calendar year of the Retro Rangers podcast has been really, really special. I've been doing it now for, I guess, 4 or 5 years, and the last 3 or 4, I've been doing it with my two co-hosts, Mark Weisman and Rich Isaac, who I call my two AARP line mates. And they're really good together. We always have a good time. We always have a lot of laughs during the podcast. But this past year we've had some great guests. We had Craig Patrick on, who told us some great stories about his on and off ice hockey career. We had Kenny Albert, of all people. We had Jiggs McDonald, the Islander broadcaster for so many years, and we recently had Howie Rose, and we had Rick Carpiniello, who's a good friend of the show. He's an author and former Ranger beat writer, and he really gave us an interesting show last time. He walked us through a day of the life of a Ranger beat writer, and that was really interesting. They actually work harder than we think they do. They have the best seat in the house, but they got to work for it. So we've had a good time, and after the shows, um, probably if you had a video camera on me, you would see me smiling because they all went so well, and Mark and Rich work so well together, and we all have a good time. We all like each other. We all tease each other, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun. We do two.
Have you guys ever thought about going video?
No, I have a face made for radio, and
Yeah, we all joke that. We all have that joke, George. We all have
and
that joke in our
and
arsenal.
I really think part of the appeal. I think part of the appeal of our podcast is that it's only audio, and the people who we call, who we ask to be on, they don't have to set anything up. They just gotta talk to us on their phone. So,
There you go.
you know, maybe someday, but not right now, not in the near future. So,
You know
but
me,
right
always
now we're doing
pitching
good.
that, always pitching just pitching me.
Yeah, I know, I know.
Hey, Georgie, let me draw attention to that interview you did with Howie Rose,
Okay.
that podcast. It was, and this is just my opinion, so subjective, the best podcast I've ever heard.
Wow.
From my standpoint,
Wow.
Howie Rose, the longtime Ranger announcer, and the Met announcer, and the Queen's Kid, um, and you and your alignment. What's going on with that? Tell me.
It was good. I happened to interview Howie a few years ago for the Emil Francis book. We did everything but win, and we've kept in touch through the years, you know. And um, this year we're um, you know, since it's the Rangers 100th anniversary, we've been trying to do one show based on the Rangers history and one show based on the current Rangers, and we, you know, we were able to bring Howie on. I asked him, and he said sure, and and it was really fun. You know, at the end of the show, he did a great Emil Francis imitation that really cracked us up. And
Hmm.
he walked us through his famous Mato call, and how he had some doubts after he made the call that maybe they wouldn't give the goal to Mato, but they did, and so it all worked out. And you know, he was a great guest. And at one point, I asked him a question out of the blue. Years ago, the New York Raiders of the WHA played at Madison Square Garden. They only lasted there for like three-quarters of a season. Then they moved to Cherry Hill, New Jersey. But they got bad dates from the Garden because, you know, the Garden didn't want them to succeed. So this was a Saturday afternoon game, and you know, the Garden was half empty, and most of the people were sitting down in the um, you know, the red seats and the orange seats and such. And there was one guy up in the blues sitting at center ice talking into a tape recorder. And you know, I thought it was kind of odd, but I figured, well, it's somebody who wants to be a, you know, NHL broadcaster. So fine. So years later, I was reading about um, um, his his the road to the NHL, and I thought, you know, that one guy sitting up there that one afternoon, that might have been Howie. So I asked him on the show, on the podcast, and he said, "Yeah, that was me." And he was really surprised that I would remember, and that I would think it was him. But it was just one of those moments where you just sit back and smile and say, "Hey, I got it right." And he was a very good guest. I really, you know, I would really like to have him back on some other time. He's uh, he's working Mets games, I guess now, part time, and he lives in Florida. And he's a very good guy, very nice man.
Good. Paulie, questions for the guests.
Absolutely.
Paulie,
Absolutely. So, what do you think your favorite interviewer or interviewee has been? What's your favorite moments thus far, George?
Um, well, there's been a lot, you know. Um,
Any of them that
if I have to
stand
pick,
out in 2025? If you want to use it as the year in 2025 roundup, you know, your favorite.
yeah, I think Craig Patrick was really good because he told us a lot of inside stuff about the Rangers. He actually got fired from being Ranger general manager because he drafted Brian Leach. Now, Brian Leach was one of the best all-time Rangers ever, but when they drafted him, he was a skinny high school kid, And the powers that be at the Garden said, "Why did you waste our first round pick on this skinny high school kid?" And a few weeks later, he got fired. Well, now Brian Leach is in the Hockey Hall of Fame, and he was
And so is Patrick.
yeah, and so that's why 100 years of Ranger history, they've won only 4 Stanley Cups in 100 years, and only one in the last 85 years. That's why poor ownership, poor management, just poor planning, just
It sounds like even their picks they would have done better if they were like at a kid's birthday party and they had the what is it, the pin the tail on the donkey. And we
yeah. Well,
Right.
we spun them around in a circle and yeah, exactly.
even
So
they're probably over the last 3 or 4 years now they've had pretty high picks, and they bombed out on all of them. And it's just it's um the uh, they just after all these years they just aren't able to get it right. Never, um, the ownership right now is what's killing them. James Dolan, um, he's made some bad hires and bad judgments as far as the Rangers are concerned, and my feeling about him is that he really doesn't care just as long as he's got a full house, paying humongous prices. Back in the 70s and 80s, I had season tickets up in the blue seats for $3 a game. Now those tickets are anywhere from $75 to $100 a game.
wow.
Wow.
If you can believe
Yeah,
that.
what was it? I forget. The Giants games here used to have Giants or A's games used to have like $6 bleacher seats or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
And that those were the good old days, right?
yeah.
We talk about the
Hey,
good old days. Make baseball great again. That's all I'm saying. Oh wait, hold on. That can't be used. I'll get sued.
hey, Paulie, let me reverse the question that you asked George.
Okay,
What was
because
your
I was gonna twist it, and I have a feeling you're gonna do the same. But go for it.
okay? I want to know what your favorite interview was um, this year and in perpetuity.
In perpetuity. Okay, so
Yeah, that's a good word for a guy who's high.
this year my best interview. Um, that's a great question because there was a lot of them, and so
Yeah, it's hard to narrow down.
it is hard because there's
Yeah,
little gems in every one of those
that's right.
conversations.
That's right. That's right. Little things that you didn't expect the guy to say or reveal to you, and
Right, and so it would be great. You know how they do those retrospective shows, like in this case it would be Zig in the Zone 2025, our
yeah,
favorite interviews. Um, and if I was talking about those, it was probably ones like with you, with either George or Jerry, or there's so many that were you don't realize the conversation you had until after it was over, and then you're like, oh, that ride was fun. I want to go on it again. It's like an amusement
hmm
park.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you're like,
Mm.
and sometimes you can't recreate that, even if you have,
No,
even if it's kismet, right? Even if it's you put the right people in the right place at the right time, magic
yeah,
doesn't always happen. I know a lot
right,
of actors that was uh, true with, right?
yeah, yeah,
Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin, Abbott and Costello, Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor. You put certain people together in a room or on a stage, and magic happens. That doesn't always happen on a podcast.
no,
Even if the weather is right, you lick your finger, you put it in the air, make sure the wind's going the right way.
Mhm.
You can't always tell how that show's going to go, but also that's the fun thing about podcasting. There's so much unpredictability. You never know what somebody's going to say, and
The
you know.
anticipation before a show is priceless.
Well, and you
And
never know when you're
right? Or
I think
the
about
last
Jerry. I
time
think
you're
about
going to
Jerry
talk
last
to
year.
anybody.
Right. Well, even last year I think about
Um,
Jerry, and so
oh, yeah, yeah.
and
Yeah,
He
well,
so
was so
even
happy. He was
like
on the comeback trail, and he was so happy to be back on the air. We're talking about Jerry Feiderberg, who we lost. And it shortly after that, he took a downhill swing, and before we knew it, he was gone.
Mhm.
right.
And irreplaceable, like you are, like George is, like I am to a certain extent. We're all humans, and that's the bitch about mortality.
Well, I'm
Um,
gonna jump in because you added yours with a little caveat, and I think you said "and with me," kind of, or however you just said it.
no, it's a caveat, believe me, and intentional because the only
You haven't even hold on, Zig. You haven't even left this earth yet, and you've left an indelible mark. And I don't mean on the seat you're sitting. I mean, you've left an indelible mark on this planet, and I think that's what all of us do. I think all of us bring something different to the table. Um, it's it's the silly little things. It's our personality, guys. And I want to look at you when I'm saying this. Is like my wife had shared yesterday. She goes, "Oh, we got the letter from the health insurance, and we have ACA." Right? So we have Obamacare, if you want to call it Obamacare, but we have ACA. And she goes, I got the letter in the mail. And I go, okay, so how much is it going up in January? I go, they're reporting 20, 26%, blah, blah, blah. I go, that's nothing. And she goes, no, 305%.
oh fuck,
305%, I think it goes from 560 something to 2,800 a month.
wow,
And I want to tell you, just based on that alone, uh, that's 305%. That's not an increase. That's a financial mugging. They
Yeah,
said that this basically runs out tomorrow, right?
yeah.
So basically, the help from the government was seasonal. Was it like a fucking pumpkin spice latte at Starbucks? It goes away after the fall. What the hell? They didn't renew
wow,
it. Of course, Congress didn't renew it. Of course, they're all rich. They've got their own private insurance. This doesn't touch them. This doesn't affect them. So now my premium looks like the national debt. My deductible looks like my annual salary. And my coverage is just a suggestion, right? At this point, insurance companies don't call us customers anymore. They call us suckers with donor
Marks.
dots. They call us suckers with donor dots on our driver's license, right? Politicians say it's complicated. No, it's not fucking complicated, politicians. Blame it on Trump. Blame it on Congress. Just fix my fucking problem.
Mhm.
I looked at my bill and thought I didn't accidentally subscribe to a private island, did I? And then I thought maybe Epstein's Island, right? Because nothing ever good happens on a private island. My money disappeared. Nobody explains why. And the people in charge go, wow, that is complicated. They say the
Well,
Titanic was complicated. No, the ship hit an iceberg. It went down and killed people. Same thing with this fucking thing in Congress. You didn't re-up the subsidies. We hit a wall, or in this case, an iceberg, and now a lot of people are going to die. So nobody else is going to say that in that way other than me. I'm going to be the
well,
big thorn in the side of your pain in the ass. I'm going to go down fighting. I'm going to go down like a doddering old man that just can't let it go. I'm going to be on my lawn of life telling them to slow down and pay for my health care.
Hey, it's cathartic for you, like all of us, getting the word out, whatever our word is as podcasters, is truly cathartic. And I'm glad for the opportunity, Paulie. Let's do a little business
All right.
and throw some commercials at you.
All right. Sounds good. We'll keep it simple right off the bat. You guys, please like, subscribe, follow us here in the zone. That's right, in the zone. Please go follow us on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. There's the addresses. Go like, subscribe, and ring that little bell. And like Ziggy said, we're all lawyered up, folks. And so here. Whether it's criminal defense, estate planning, or civil litigation, the answer is the law offices of Andrew Doja. Call us today at 510-865-1600 or find us on the web at dojalaw.com.
For tenant and landlord disputes, there's no other than the law office of Jeff Canberra. Call now 1-510-865-7369 and don't forget to tell them Zig sent you.
All right, and it's time for Zig Says. Zig's so happy. Zig Says. Go for it, Ziggy.
Well, I say we can't fix the entire world individually, but we can start. And that's by providing books, new and lightly used books to the Head Start program for kids. Children's books. Give them a passion, give them reading ability, and a head start in life. So, if you would all, in our name, wrap up used, new, lightly used, if you would, books and take them, put them in boxes, have a neighborhood drive, take them to the Head Start program in your community. And that's what Zig says today.
All right. Perfect.
Okay.
Just like he's a pro. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a pro, all right.
So let's go back to the podcast for a minute.
Yeah, please talk to us.
Yeah. Okay. So, you had mentioned, that once in a while you catch lightning in a bottle and you get lucky. Well, I got very lucky with Mark and Rich. I mean, I know how I met both of them. I met both of them and came in contact with both of them a long time ago. How I put them together on the podcast, I really don't remember, but they work so well together. And recently, I got an email from the Maven, Fischler, and he asked me to help him write a good, bad, and ugly column after every Ranger game. And I knew I wouldn't be able to do it for various reasons. But I recommended Mark and Rich. And they've been doing it now for a good 6 weeks or so. And they probably write the whole column, basically. He puts his little sentences in once in a while, but he writes the whole column. And last week, I think it was last Tuesday or so, they found out that he had published one of their columns in the Hockey News. And that was just a thrill for all of us. I mean, that's, good for them. It's, it's a feather in their cap. Stan really did a nice thing for them. And I'm so happy for them. I'm so proud of them. And as I said, I don't know how I put them together, but it's worked out very well, and I love them both. They really make the show better. If it was me just alone, the show would suck. But with those guys, they're asking their questions, they're insightful questions. They are fantastic, and I really can't say enough about them. and I'm happy.
And your timing with them is terrific. You just know when to break in, when to conclude a thought. George, you're wonderful.
Well, that's the hard part because we try to keep the shows to about an hour, okay? But some of the shows, like Howie Rose, we could have talked for another hour or so after that, and
Absolutely.
Gigs and Rick Carpinello and Kenny Albert. We could have talked to those guys forever, but you try to keep it within an hour, and so you have to cut things off once in a while. But it's a shame, but that's
So
just the way it
you
is.
lose part of your viewership as soon as you hit that hour mark. You lose about
Yeah,
20%.
that's what I've heard.
And
Yeah,
even if people
yeah,
are not playing it till the end, they see it and go, "How long? Wow, hold on. This is an hour long or more," and they will
yeah,
click it. It's like a trap. It's like clickbait for this
yeah.
generation of podcasters and listeners.
So
And
you got to watch out
yeah,
for
yeah.
that.
So that's the other thing is you always want to leave them wanting more, right? That's what they always
That's
tell
right.
us as a
That's
stream
right.
performer. And
That's
so
right.
if you have this great conversation going, this is something that I've done before, where we were just talking about it earlier, right? Even though you put the right people in the same room, it doesn't mean you're always going to have magic or lightning in a bottle.
Right.
If
Right.
you can, Zig, reset your mic for me. Um, the one thing is that you can you can conclude that interview within the hour, but then as soon as you cut the cameras or the mics, you say, "Hey, we have such a groove going. Can we keep going? We'll record another segment. Maybe this will be from a month from now." And because if you really have some really good stuff, especially if you leave the podcast in a place like, "Oh, we never even talked about your whatever." You can go, "Okay, so you really need to come back next time and talk to us about it." And then you go, "Hey, thanks for tuning in this week. We'll talk to you next week when we're talking to so and so." But literally a month later, you can go, we kept the conversation going from a month ago with George Grimm, but we had to ask him more about this. And so, either record another 15, 20 minutes as a special little segment or go that hour and you have a whole nother podcast in the can for a future date. So I'm not sure if I understood the question. What would were you saying basically? So are you saying what was the question he would want to be asked? Okay. Oh, there you go. That was an underhand pitch from your dad right there. It hit this one out of the park. George, can you repeat that Gmail address for you guys? RetroNYRangersPodcast@gmail.com. Cool, thank you. I just wanted to make sure we can pop it up on the screen for you. Cool.
You know, they
Yeah.
didn't have the experience in their life to give you their advice. You know, so
Mm.
And I'm
Well,
not. I had you guys muted for some reason, and I'm not sure why.
All right.
find out where that was, and hopefully it wasn't right in
Okay.
the middle of your story about your mom. That wouldn't
Okay.
really been bad, but that's okay because these are the kind of things I learn when I'm looking at a dashboard.
Yeah.
Right.
But you know, the one thing I will say about that is that you're right. We don't realize the lessons that we're learning as they're happening, right? Sometimes,
Right. Right.
right? And we don't realize it until years later. The person might not be with us anymore. We might have realized,
And the
well,
world changes. The
the
world
world changes. The
changes.
world changes.
No change. Right.
And maybe we don't understand even where they were at that point in time in their life,
That's right.
what they were going
You know,
through.
right.
Hey,
Their
we have
interest from the
no
stories
way
before
to
is not
put
ours.
what's going on today into words. It's new and unexplored and craziness that we haven't seen in this country
Right.
in our lifetimes. So imagine them trying to be Nostradamus and giving us advice. It'd be like we trying to give our kids advice. And in what world are they going to be living in? And
Right.
us in an hour. You know what I mean?
Right.
So uh, things are unbelievably fucked. How about that?
Well,
A little.
I'm glad we have you as the optimist pessimist.
Well, I am the
The
pragmatist.
optimistic pessimist. Thank you.
Well, I
No,
always call
no.
myself an optimistic pessimist too. I don't really expect anything good to happen, but it might. So
Yeah, well,
Right.
it's kind of like you can only okay. So what is it? You hope for the best, but what is it? What's the old
plan
saying?
for the worst.
Prepare for the
Plan for the
worst.
Plan
worst.
for the worst.
Now I'm the opposite way. I plan for the worst, and shit, if something good happens, bonus. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yep.
Easy to say unless you're living in it and you get an insurance bill
oh Jesus.
for as exact. The words are easy for all of us until we experience the bumps in the road. And
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, so there's going to be a lot of Americans. I don't know. You guys remember the Denzel Washington movie about 15, 20 years ago where his son has cancer and they don't have insurance to pay for it? So he like
yeah,
takes the doctor hostage in an ER to perform whatever like chemotherapy or whatever life-saving
well, what the kid
procedure.
needs.
Yeah, and so it was called John Q. And it's basically he's going to end up holding this whole ER or part of this hospital hostage just so his son gets this treatment so he lives, even if it cost him his life. And so I'm not, and I've said it out loud a couple times, I'm not looking for things like this to happen, but what do you expect from the American people? They're either going to get more outraged that now I don't have insurance and things are happening because what is it? The Department of Health, whatever it is, Robert Kennedy stuff. Uh, I should specify Robert Kennedy Jr. stuff. He's literally stopping other life-saving things like vaccines and other stuff
Yeah. Yeah.
and trials, and then you're taking our health insurance away from us. This is the worst time for all this stuff to
Mhm.
be happening. And again, it doesn't affect the 1% or the people that have
No.
the
No.
money that have
No.
private insurance.
Right. Right.
They're gonna pay more. They're not even gonna realize it's hitting their pocketbook. It's us. It's the foot soldiers. It's the
Yep.
get everything done people in your country. It's the people that pick your food, sell you your food, prepare your food. And I'm using food as an example because that's just who truck your food. That's all just to do with food. And the reason I'm mentioning food because I know that he has a soft place for food or a soft spot for food, and that soft spot is his midsection and his rear hiney.
Mm.
But Literally, I'm sorry. And so here's another thing. I hate being this person.
And there's more.
I mean, I don't
So
mind
wait, there's
speaking
more.
truth to power. I don't mind speaking truth to power. But when I'm sitting here just like I'm making insults about how fat his ass is, what am I doing? This is, they say no matter what was the lesson your mom would tell you too is that, how matter how low they go, you don't go lower or whatever, right? So
Right.
literally, I just
At this point, you want to go low. You have to
at
go
this
low.
point, I don't know what's gonna shake the tree. I don't know what's gonna get us that health care. But
Yeah.
this is all I've got in my toolbox is my big, loud mouth. And
Yep.
so,
Well, it seems to be working today.
yes, I'd like to thank our sponsor being Starbucks. Starbucks, it keeps me
Right.
cold and up and going all day. So, yeah.
Let me tell you something about Starbucks. Gets a bad rep, but if you have a good Starbucks in your area, you're blessed because they are so freaking organized and so friendly at the South Shore in Alameda. There's Starbucks there. Natalie has a crew that is really terrific, and they're pleasant. How about that?
Yeah,
That's my spiel.
that's a commodity in today's world. You do realize just being nice and
Right,
pleasant.
absolutely. And every one of them are. None of them come to work, and it's her recruiting people with that attitude, but none of them come to work with a chip on their shoulder. And it
Well,
can't
I
be
think
any.
when somebody's nice to me, the first thing I think is, what do you want? How
Must be
much do
something
you
wrong
need
here.
to
Yeah.
borrow? Where do you want to
Yeah,
ride to? You
yeah.
got what to do and when and huh? But the Starbucks
Well,
people
you
are genuinely nice because they're nice people and they want it. They like it makes the shift go faster, right? You've been at jobs where the time just crawls. It goes
right,
slow and you're just like, "Oh, I hate this job. I hate this job." Starbucks is one of those jobs you can make it what you want. It can be as fun or as shitty as possible, as shitty as you want it to be. But if you're joking with everybody and jovial and your shit goes quick, your
Yeah.
shit goes fast.
Yeah. It's an ever-changing atmosphere because you get new people in all the time, and
Right.
each they they would come in with their attitude, and maybe you want to get them off their high horse, and it's a ever changing atmosphere and
Landscape of
customers. And,
atmosphere and landscape of
yeah,
people,
yeah,
and it's cool because like I'll share this really shortly is that I used to be a cashier at Safeway, and
okay,
our Safeway is probably like every Safeway that you've ever been into where the lines are long, especially during the
yeah,
holidays, especially during whatever. There's never enough cashiers. They have 12 checkout stands and only 4 of them were open, right?
yeah,
And so
yeah.
that's the same with every Safeway I've ever been in. And our Safeway wasn't any different. But I used me being a cashier as a lab. I used it to work on jokes. And
Hmm.
I'm a blue comedian. All my jokes are usually dirty or they got F bombs in it or whatever. And so I was always trying to develop new material that was clean, that you could tell to any age group and you wouldn't lose them. And so I used me being a cashier as I used that as literally a 8-hour shift would be like my Saturday Night Live audition tape. I
Hmm.
literally used every customer and I developed jokes. And it was funny because I even started developing jokes based on different products. I would be scanning. I'd be scanning stuff. You're grabbing stuff from one side, you're scanning it across. Bleep, bleep, bleep. And then, like, one of my favorite ones that I developed said, oh my gosh, I've just answered that age-old question. And the person will look at you, and you're still scanning, right? And they're like, what question is that? And I go, which came first, the chicken or the egg? And they look at you like that. And I go, well, you had your roasted chicken before the eggs.
And I just threw the chicken on top of the eggs.
Yeah. And so it would be stuff like that. It would be little things like we used to have to card, no matter what age you were. Like a lot of stores, you had to card people if they bought alcohol, if they looked under the age of 35. Safeway,
Wow.
you needed to get their ID. You needed to input their date of birth, no matter what age they are. So when you're ringing up a 70-year-old lady that's getting some cooking sherry, and you got to card her, that usually pisses them off. And so, like, I had a little thing where I'd say, oh, could you do me a favor and either I'm looking close at it. I would say, can you flash me or whisper to me? And she goes, what? And I go, flash me your ID or whisper your date of birth in my ear, kind of thing. And so it was kind of like I was flirting, but it was also not like, hey, old lady, what year were you born in?
Yeah. Well, you tell them that they look so young that you have to call them.
Right. Well, it was kind of like I was like, hitting on the 70-year-olds. I got a
Look at you.
That way too. But
look at you. Hubba hubba.
Yeah. So I mean, so that's it. I mean, I think life is what you make it. Yes, there's other people that influence it, that fuck it up. Like I said, even with me, I get influenced by power, by what's happening in our government. It does change my cadence. It does change my message, but it shouldn't change my tone or my personality or my thoughts for humankind.
Okay, one more.
We're here on the spinning rock.
We're all in the same boat. We're all in the
Well,
same
I'm
boat.
here to give George his due. And we talked about his dad in the past. We've talked about his mom now. And how about Teresa? And
Teresa's my angel.
she's been
she takes
a stand-up woman.
She takes very good care of me. Now with my vision problems, she's really got a burden on her hands, and she really helps me every chance she gets, and I can't speak highly enough of her. And her sister Louise helps us too a lot. I have to thank her, and our nephews Daniel and Frankie. They've all been a big help to us, and Teresa is a trooper. She has her health issues too, but she works through them. And I don't know what I would do without her. God bless her. So
good. I'm glad you gave her credit.
I thank God every day she's in my life. That's another thing. As far as Mark and Rich, yeah, it's one thing. How Teresa got in my life, that's a whole nother story. But thank God for that. So
nice. I'm going to turn the question to Paul. Tell me a little bit about Christine. She too is a stand-up woman.
Yeah, I'm telling you. I don't know how she puts up with my craziness. I mean, we all have our little things. And I know where we lost our sound last time is when I asked you to reset your mic. I'm going to do it again, but I'm going to remember that I have to unmute you. With Christine, I'll give you a brief overview. If you don't know, I've been married for 4 years. We've been together 25 years. So how a woman or any one person stays with someone 21 years, and Zig, if you can't reset your mic, I have you guys muted, but I want you to reset your mic. How any one person can stay with someone 21 years and not know if there's I won't say that she didn't know there was a future with me because I think she knew there was a future with me. It's just that, if you don't have commitment, yeah, way better. Thank you. Um, if you if you don't have commitment early on, you kind of don't know if I'm going through. We were just talking about you're spinning on this rock, hurtling through space. You start wondering
Yeah.
if you're doing this alone, if you're doing it for, if you're going to be alone in the end, basically. And you think about that when you're in your 20s. You think about that when you're in your 60s. You think about that when you're 70s or 80s. You do. That's one thing humankind is. We talked about this yesterday, Zig, when I was hanging out with you. You might be a solitary person at times. There might be times where I'm an introvert and I don't need to be around people. Um, but we do need human connection. We do need, um, at the end of the day, or the end of the season, or at the end of our lives, it would nice to not be alone. Uh, that's kind of, unless you have a thing with your maker that you want to be there with him in the end. But literally, I'd rather be. I always like to hear the obits of people that they say they were surrounded by loved ones. That's how I want to go.
Mm.
I want to be surrounded by loved ones, not taxpayers and vultures. Right?
Who could blame you? Who could blame you?
I don't want them to
Paulie,
pick
here.
my bones clean. I don't want them to pick my bones clean after I'm dead. I already told my kids, because I have a whole bunch of weird shit. As you can see, I have an eclectic sense. I have a whole bunch of weird shit. I know my kids are going to be going through stuff and going, what the hell was this? At 58, I'm telling my kids, oh, you would like this. Don't just throw it away in the end. You might want to keep it. Stuff like that. Um, and each one of my kids has a different personality, which is kind of funny because they're not kidding. Your kids are literally a little piece of you, and each one of my kids is a little piece of me. Um, and so, yeah, I don't know. That's what I'm leaving behind, a whole bunch of little legacies to talk shit about me when I'm gone, which would be
Mm.
fun. I look forward
Hey,
to it.
George, we enjoy kibitzing with you.
Yep. Me too.
So,
Good to be here.
would you please
Anytime.
come back
Sure.
soon and often?
Anytime.
Beautiful.
You
Okay.
just gotta let me know, and I'll be
Keep
there.
flying.
Shout out your stuff again, George, and I'm gonna put down the
Okay.
link to
Retro NY Rangers podcast at gmail.com or at Retro NY Rangers podcast on Instagram.
There it is, and it's right
And
below. It's scrolling along the bottom. You guys see it, Retro NY
okay.
Rangers podcast at Gmail, and check out the Retro NY Rangers
Yeah.
podcast
And you can
wherever.
see the Retro Rangers podcasts are all on the Spotify. So if you go to Spotify and search for Retro Rangers podcast, you'll find the Howie Rose interview and Jiggs McDonald and uh, Craig Patrick and Kenny Albert. And that was a big surprise when we got Kenny Albert, but that was uh, that was a real feather in all our caps. His uncle Steve wrote a book. That's
Oh, really?
that's Marv's brother, and he wrote a book, and I wanted to try to get him on the podcast to push the book. So, but I didn't have his email, but I had Kenny's email. So I asked Kenny to get in touch with Steve and see if he wants to come on the podcast to push the book. But at the time, he was busy trying to push the book on other media. But Kenny said, "I'll be on." Whoa, Kenny Albert. So we had him on, and it was a great show. And it's just one of those things where you're just in the right place, the right time, asking the right question.
Howie made a joke of Kenny's um, personality on your podcast. He's aggressive and will take anything, and gladly. He was a great guest for you too.
Well, Kenny went through how he prepares for stuff, and it's amazing. He once did 4 different sports. No, he once did four. Yeah, 4 different sports on 4 regular days, and he prepared for all of them. It's just amazing what he can do. So
Yeah. You have to be industrious in life, and
yeah.
I tell my kids that, because their dad certainly was not.
Mhm.
Um, and
And Kenny's
uh,
other uncle is Al Albert. Who does basketball out in California by you, I
right,
believe.
Right.
right.
So, so, so
So
All
it's a,
right, guys, we're
it's a
gonna
big
do
thing.
it this way because we got 3 minutes till we hit the hour mark, and like you said, boy, it just drops off right after that hour.
Okay.
So,
Thanks a
but
lot,
thank
guys.
you. I want to make sure we get through this again. Joining us, George Grimm. Thank you very much. Hold up that book again because my graphic for the book didn't work. Here we go. Drum roll, please. All right. Oh, there's the barcode. Scan the barcode. Flip the book or scan the barcode.
Okay.
No, flip the book around. You got it
Oh
upside
yeah,
down. There we
right.
go.
Okay.
All right. We did everything but
But
win.
win.
There you go.
and I live as a fan. I lived through those days so vividly in New York, and as George knows, I loved hockey.
Yeah.
I love basketball, I love football, and I love baseball. But hockey is special, um, in a way that the other sports aren't. Can you describe hockey to those? The majority of people listening have never been to a hockey game.
Okay. Yes.
Describe the
Well, the majority.
experience.
I the a project that I'm working on now. I'm writing something about why the Rangers are so bad, and um, I wrote that hockey is a relatively simple game, as described by two hockey Hall of Famers. Freddie Shero said, "Take the shortest route to the puck and arrive in ill humor." And Boom Boom Jeffrey on said, "Shoot that puck, score that goal." So that's the essence of hockey. Get the puck and shoot it. That's it. That's hockey. So
Uh,
There you go. All right. Happy New Year, guys.
Beautiful.
Happy New Year.
Thanks,
I'll see you
guys.
soon.
Love you
Okay.
both.
All right. Take it easy.
All right. So we're gonna get out of here, guys. Until next week. We'll see you in the 2026 year. We'll see you in the zone for myself, George, and Zig. We're out of here, guys. We'll see you next week in the zone.
Bye bye now.
Till then.
Adios, guys. Thanks again.